My name is Claus Testrup from HC Capital, and today's podcast is with Ascelia Pharma, and from Ascelia Pharma, Chief Scientific Officer Andreas Norlin and Deputy CEO Julia Waras Brogren is with me in the studio. We have three topics today. One is the ongoing subscription in the TO1 warrant. Then we will slightly touch upon all the conferences and feedback from conferences to the Overclan study. And last but not least, we're going to talk a little about the feedback and the discussion that Ascelia Pharma had recently with the FDA. So welcome to Julia and welcome to Andreas. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So first topic today is actually for you, Julia. It's the ongoing subscription in the TO1 warrant. Please, could you outline, Julia, a little about the subscription period, the price, and how you actually calculate the price?
Yes. Thank you, Claus. So, yes, we have an ongoing exercise period for our TO1 warrants series. These warrants were issued as last year as part of our rights issue financing. And so we have more than 20 million warrants out there, and it can provide us up to 4 to 5 million Swedish kronor in financing here in April. So right now we are in the exercise period that ran from 1st of April till the 15th of April. And until the 11th of April, the warrants are also traded on Nasdaq in Stockholm. So you can buy warrants. If you're not using them, you can sell them. It's good to keep an eye on your bank because some banks have earlier deadlines, but in principle, trading of warrants to the 11th, exercise of warrants to the 15th of April. And then you ask about the price. So the exercise price is 2.15 Swedish kronor.
Yes.
And the way that it's calculated is based on the average trading price, share price, roughly in the second half of March. That was already set out as part of the terms initially. And then the warrant exercise price is 70% of that. Okay. So there's already a discount, of course, built in the warrants exercise price. So this is a good opportunity for us now to strengthen our financial position further, and yeah.
And what is the amount of gross proceeds you will receive with 100% participation?
100% would be almost 45 million Swedish kronor gross. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thanks a lot. Then let's jump into to all the conferences, because you have announced quite a lot of conferences the last couple of months after you received the full data package on the Overclan study. And you have names like RSNA, ESCA, and other interesting names. So, and Andreas, could you please elaborate a little on some of these conferences are very scientific, and some of them you also have commercial partners, you even have insurance companies and others. Could you, if we dive a little under, you know, the positive outcome, what do you actually interact with these guys on in terms of the scientific community?
Yeah, so let's start with the scientific community, and just I think the first thing to acknowledge or recognize is just the fact that we have got all these abstracts and presentations accepted for these big conferences, and I think that is a testimony of the general big interest and excitement in a way about that there is a new potential contrast agent on its way to the market. So we have presented various aspects of the Sparkle study, our phase 3 study, at these conferences, and I think in general there is a lot of interest and questions about what is this, how does this work, how can we see as a radiologist that we can use this. So all sorts of quite practical questions, I would say, about where does this fit in. I think there is no problem in showing that it actually works.
No.
I mean, because we have the data that is very strong, And at the conferences, we have also a chance to show some sample images to show this, and that is what the radiologists are actually interested in. They don't care so much about the numbers. They need to see that the image is actually making a difference. So I think you can say that is what they are paying most attention to, and generally that there is a positive response to, that they can see that our images, that there is a clear difference with Orviglance compared to the unenhanced images.
So I think maybe to add to this, the conferences and these abstracts and presentations are also a very important opportunity to build, strengthen our network with these experts or key opinion leaders. So they can be it could be the authors, our investigators, those who are presenting the data at conferences, but also those who help us with advice on key questions related to the commercialization, to clinical practice around Orviglance, to the NDA, for example. So all this data in the scientific community really also helps us build these relationships with key people who are decision makers.
And this is quite interesting because today, the 4th of April, you actually came out with another conference, the ISPOR 2025, where you're invited to present your abstracts. And it's for a broader public than, let's say, ESCA. So this actually supports your thesis.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. This new poster is for the ISPOR conference, as you mentioned. And ISPOR is really a conference where the focus is on how do treatments, drugs, and etc. impact patients' lives and outcomes and payers and the healthcare setup in a specific country. So it's a little bit different stakeholders. These are payers, insurance companies, industry players, for us also potential partners who are interested in discussing what will be the outcomes be, how will it impact the budgets. So this is important data, it's important recognition, and so that's part of understanding the strategy for a commercial launch.
So in general, both on the scientific side and the commercial side, first of all, you've been invited to a lot of conferences. Check mark, that's positive, of course. But afterwards, do you get special invitations, or do they drag you down from the scene and want to talk with you afterwards? Because it's not only you participating in these conferences. I know that.
Yeah.
What is the normal practice for success?
I don't know if that is a success criteria, but yes, of course. I mean, not all questions are asked during the presentation. So people approach us or may approach the presenter, because that are normally one of our PIs, so principal investigators from the studies that are doing the presentation. They are quite often approached afterwards and with more curious questions about all sorts of things relating to the study and the product. I think that is
good description. And on the commercial side, of course, it's if somebody's interested, it's really and you cannot mention that here. But is it the same that you get some kind of, or expect to get some kind of interaction afterwards, after you participate in the ISPOR conference?
Yeah, I mean the industry players are at the conferences because they are companies like us presenting their data, sometimes showcasing their already launched technologies. So it's a community where the key people know each other and follow each other's development. So that's the same for us, of course.
And when insurance companies or the payers are participating in these conferences, do you then jump into reimbursement schemes and stuff like that? Where will Orviglance fit into that? Is it that detailed as well, or?
The key, I think there's an advisory discussion, strategy planning side, and that's part of what we're doing. We've done payer research previously. We've communicated about payer research, so that you want to be 200% ready when you negotiate with payers. So most of it is about leading up to that. It's same with the FDA or any other key stakeholder, and then when you have approval, or are close to approval, that's where you actually get into the real negotiation. There's also regulations about how early you can start with this.
Yes.
But so in terms of the advice and preparing for the best possible outcome, that's what the focus is on now. And that's going well.
That's it. Yeah, it's going really good. Yeah. So let's take the last topic of today, because you got like a green light from the FDA minutes earlier this year. Andreas, could you jump a little into what is the format for these discussions? You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's quite formalized.
Yeah.
It's a very precise process for how these things are going on. Unfortunately, you cannot just pick up the phone and call the FDA. So what you do is you prepare. The first thing we do is to prepare ourselves by investigating what are the uncertainties, what are the questions we need to clarify. And then when you have that ready, you request a meeting with FDA with these questions presented and say, this is what we want to discuss. And then you continue by providing more of the background information that the FDA needs to understand our question and to be able to answer the questions. And eventually we get to the meeting where the last things are clarified, and before the meeting you normally get a preliminary meeting minutes, so we know where FDA stands on these things, and then you can decide if we need to discuss more or if the answer is good as it is. Then after the meeting there's the formalization or the finalization of the actual minutes, and when you get those you know where FDA stands. So it's quite lengthy, but it's a very good process in the way that you really need to be sharp and prepare to 200%.
Again,
yes, yeah. So you really need to know what it is that you want to clarify.
And for our meeting, maybe you can summarize the outcomes of the meeting and
absolutely
impact.
Yes. Now, I mean that the meeting was the purpose of this meeting was to clarify the last outstanding issues, to make sure that we have an agreement about how to present the data and which format, and very formally which part of the file should a certain document be placed. I mean, there are very, very strict guidelines for that, but sometimes you also need to agree that okay, we define this document as this type of document should go there. So it's very, very nerdy things that can be discussed. But then also on the more scientific parts, what is the right way to look at this? So we had these discussions now, and we had the agreement, so we know exactly what to do now. Very minor adjustments, basically no adjustments to the plan, so we stick to those and are now preparing to do the last piece of work. The team is there working very dedicated to put the file together, and we aim to file in the middle of the year.
Yeah, and that's actually as expected.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And I think another part to add is we're very pleased that we could complete the interaction successfully with positive outcomes in Q1.
Yes.
That was the goal we had set and the milestone we communicated. So
Yes.
we're very pleased that we achieved this,
We are.
which is one more of the key milestones we've had last year with the headline results, the full study report that we achieved according to the plan that we had communicated. So this is another one according to plan, and so we're looking very much forward to the NDA submission, and that's on track for
it is.
mid this year.
Yeah. And so to finish this podcast, so when you file mid this year, what is the expected time period we should wait until you get, hopefully, you get
I mean, the standard timelines for the FDA is a 10-month review period.
Yes.
And during that period, there is a lot of questions that we need to answer.
Of course,
So there is an obligation from the FDA to do this within 10 months. There are options for shorter, so prioritized review, but that is something that is decided when you submit. Yeah. If FDA allows it, and if we want to do it, it's a lot of things that need to be coordinated around the review and approval. So,
interesting.
yes,
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Really good interview.
Thank
By
you.
that time, I hope we will hear more soon.
Absolutely.
And, thanks a lot to Waras Brogren, Deputy CEO from Ascelia Pharma, and Andreas Norlin, CSO from Ascelia Pharma. Great interview, and all have a really good day.